If you own an e-commerce brand and you're running Meta ads, you have probably seen a decrease in the overall return on ad spend after the newest Meta algorithm Andromeda was released. And in this video, I want to show you exactly the strategies that you should apply if you want to improve the current results, which, by the way, are the same strategies that we have applied to these e-commerce brands right here, and we helped them grow from a 2x return on ad spend to a 3.8x return on ad spend. And we were able to do this because we basically fixed all the problem that this account had since they were still using the old strategies before Meta Andromeda. And after we applied the newest strategy that I'm going to show in this video, we were able to reach these results. Let me jump now on my screen so I can show you some data and some proof as well. The overall concept of this case study is to show you how we were able to fix this brand, ad account and helping them to go from a 2x to a 3.8x return on the ad spend. And let me show you some proof here as well. So July, this brand was spending 23k, and as you can see, the return on ad spend was 2.01, as you can see here. And then on August, we were able to decrease a little bit the ad spend, so 17k, but we were able to increase the overall return on ad spend to 4.29. And then in September, so the month after, we were basically able to spend around 22k and get a 3.89 return on the ad spend, applying the same strategy that I will show you guys in this video. So what we basically did, we overall fixed the ad structure and creative strategy based on what works right now post Andromeda algorithm on Meta. And if you want to have more info about this, I highly recommend you guys to check this video that you see right now in the screen, which is basically one of the videos that I have already in my channel where I go deep and show exactly how this algorithm works and what you should do about it. Now, let me jump on this specific case study. So, there were three main things that we had to fix because, this account, this brand here specifically, they were running ads in this, like the old way. So, three main things: fix campaign structure and ad strategy, creative diversification, and the net new creative concept. These are the three things that we had to work on. So, let me start with the actual problem. So, once we got this brand, they were basically using the old school testing and scaling campaigns, which something that is not working very well after the newest Meta update. They were scaling campaigns using fake winners, which is very common. Actually, this is a very common problem that I see on like a lot of other accounts that I audit. And then they were not turning off ads fast enough. And of course, in this case, we're talking about those are like the bad performing ads. And let me show you the actual fixes. So, first thing that we implemented is the Meta full funnel campaign setup, which is what I call a unified CBO strategy that you can actually check in this video here. Again, on my channel, you will find more information about it. And we basically started scaling and launching a prospecting campaign using true winners. And a lot of mistakes that I see nowadays when you audit ad accounts is that brand pick winners based on number of purchases and amount spent. But this is basically wrong. And this is wrong because it's a problem sometimes due to the Meta attribution. So basically what is going to happen, you will see wrong data, okay? Because the actual attribution model the Meta uses is like 7-day click and 1-day view. So you're not reading the right data to pick the winning ads. And so what we need and what we actually did, basically to narrow down by audience segment and by incremental attribution. And so we started picking winner based on number of purchases for new audience using the incremental attribution view. And let me show you an example, okay? So as you can see here on my screen, there are like two ad creatives, right? Now, what you might be thinking is, okay, if I check the amount spent, this creative A here is going much better compared to creative B because the return on ad spend is 4.20 against 2.92 of the creative B. But if you check the incremental attribution, this one here in the return on ad spend, and the new audience, and you compare this data here with this data here, you will basically see that in terms of incremental attribution that the creative B brought to the brand in terms of new audience was much better because the return on ad spend is much higher, 2.42 against 1.93. And so when we pick creatives right now, we always look at this information because we don't want absolutely to scale ads that have a high return on ad spend, a lot of purchases, but most of them are coming maybe from like one day view attribution, or they are not incremental attribution, or even worse, they're coming from engaged audience or existing customers. And so this is basically something that like a lot of brands are making mistakes nowadays, and I highly recommend you to double check also in your account to make sure that you are actually, scaling the right ads. And then finally, we started turning off ads if the spend was high and the ROAS was lower 30% compared to the account or the campaign average. And this is a problem. It's actually very common because I see a lot of brands that are keeping on ads, they're spending a lot of money, and the return on ad spend is bad. It's just bad. And the reason why they keep them on is because they think that by keeping them on, the overall return on ad spend might improve, and if they turn them off, the overall return on ad spend will decrease because the full funnel and Meta spend more budget on the creatives that gets more volume, so they are more scalable and so on. But this is not always true, and I will actually explain this in my next video. So highly recommend to subscribe to the channel and check the next video. And so these were basically the issues that we saw within the ad structure and the ad strategy and all the fixes that we have done. Then, in terms of creative diversification, so the problems. First problem, the creative variations were insignificant. So things that basically don't work anymore after Andromeda. So with Andromeda, changing the headline of the ad is not enough to change the angle of the ads to target a new audience. So what they were basically doing is using the same visual and just change copy and angles and test relevant variables like background colors and button colors, because they were thinking that by changing the headline and keeping the same visual, they were targeting new audiences. But it doesn't work like this anymore with Andromeda, because you need to have creative diversification and you need to adapt the concept of the actual ad to the message that you're giving to the ads, to the angle. Okay, I will show you some example, no worries. And also, they were doing a lot of tiny iteration winning ads. So rather than diversifying the concept of the winning ads, they were just changing the headline of the winning concept, hoping to scale. But ads were dying faster, of course, because Meta now targets the same audience with Andromeda. If you keep the ad the same, if you only change the headline, you're gonna be targeting the same audience. And this is how they were iterating on winning ads. And so what we did to fix all of this. First thing, we implemented our creative system where we create diverse ads variation when it comes to testing new angles and personas by, number one, matching the angle with the visual of the ad, matching the avatar or the new avatar that we are targeting with the persona. Okay, so the actual avatar, so the image of the person that we show in the ad is matching the target persona that we're targeting. Let's say we are targeting men above 40, and then in the ad I will show an exact guy of 40 plus. And also we started to use a copy that was matching the tone of voice and the voice overall of the target persona they were targeting through the ads. And also, we tested a completely new visual by adapting the winning concept to target new angles and sub audiences. Now, I can show you due to NDA like the specific creatives, but I have created some examples for you to understand what I'm talking about, so the actual concept. So this is the wrong thing to do. Let's say this is the winning ad. Let's say you have this headline that says lose weight with this meal plan. You have the picture. Now this is like very bad. I just made like very quickly on Canva, so don't look at the actual concept or the angle of the ad or the copy, whatever. It was super quick just to show you visually what I'm talking about, right? So this is the winning ad. Let's say this is a winning ad. Now the iteration that they were making were looking like this. So either the same exact ad and changing only the headline, or keeping everything the same and only change the dish. These things here don't work, okay? So the way that you should iterate on this is basically like this. So you change the headline and you change the visual to match the headline and the angle. Let's say, for instance, in this case, here it says lose weight with meal plan, with this meal plan. Cool, then we show like a salad and stuff, so it makes sense, right? Because you lose weight. And then on the other side, we have gym bros are going crazy with this meal plan. This is just an example to show you they were targeting, gym people. They want to gain mass, like muscle, and at the same time avoid, gaining a lot of fat. And this is exactly the concept. As you can see here, I'm showing like a dish with like chicken, and the angle itself is referred to gym people because they know that like they actually want to have this dish in their diet because they know it's like very high protein. And as you can see here, also the elements now have changed. So this says 50 grams of protein, more calories and more fats. Is different compared to this one. Okay, and this is how winning iteration works, and this is how we're actually scaling with our clients. Now, one more thing is net new creative concept, and this is like a very common problem. They were just copying existing ad concept, especially for statics, and just adapting them by using their products. So they were just like taking classic, ad from competitors or like from templates and stuff, and just just add up completely to their product. The problem with this is that the ads are seen and re-seen, and so they won't stop the attention anymore. That's why most of their tests and the ad creatives were just wasting budget. Even with a winning angle or target audience, the ad wasn't working due to the copied concept. So the angle probably was like a winning angle, but then since they were copying the concept, people were not stopping, and so the ad overall, it wasn't working. So what we did, we basically took the angle and we applied the angle to a more original concept. And what I say by like classic concept, the classic point out visual, us versus them, and just like this example here itself, like how many brands have you seen using a visual like this, like headline, product, and then the point out with the arrows, and then showing the different benefits, let's say, right? Now what we actually fix in this case, I'm going to show you also the example as you've seen already. We always come out with net new concept, since these are the best drivers in terms of performance. For these case studies above, 70% of the ads, the one that you saw here, 70% of the ads were statics, and then only 30% were videos. So our creative team had to come out with net new concept to deliver angles in the most unique and original way. This is very, very important, okay? Let me show you some example. So rather than doing something like this, which is seen and re-seen, just like the arrows pointing out all the things, full with text and so on, rather than this, we did this. This is just like an example. Again, these are not our clients, and I just took these creatives from the ads library just to show you guys visually what I'm referring to. Okay, and this is just an example of what I'm saying. So rather than showing the benefits with this concept that like people have seen and re-seen and re-seen over and over again, we did it with a new concept. So something like this. Okay, and this is how we were basically be able to scale this brand and help them to go, as you saw here, from a 2x to a 3.89x return on the ad spend. This is it for this video, guys. If you have any question, feel free to leave a comment below. Remember to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and I'll see you in the next video.